how do you get in touch with what you want at a play party? I'm Kathy Bertilli from IntimacyDojo.com, here with Monique Darling and Peter Peterson from EverydayTantra.com.
It's one of our favorite subjects.
Yes.
And as I started going to play parties, then I started realizing that there was a piece that it was harder for me to just jump right in and try and figure out. And I would see people walking around, going and grabbing food. And I went to a particular play party where they introduced a subject of, okay, what's something that would feel really good to do right now for you? And what's something that you've always wanted to do and were afraid to ask for? And so little by little, then we modeled it into our play parties. We do an exercise called Mildest to Wildest. And we really take people, have everyone close their eyes. We have you fast forward time so that you're imagining that you're walking out of the play party. And what was that mildest thing that you wish would have happened? And so then you can really get in touch with that vulnerable piece of you of what's your mildest desire. And then I'll have you go to the other side of the spectrum and really get in touch with what's that wildest thing that you've always wanted to ask for, or you've always wanted to experience. And you're not telling the room, hey, I'm ready to do this thing, but you're allowing yourself to feel what it would feel like just to ask it, just to put it into words. And then we put people into groups, or if it's a small enough play party, then everybody goes around and announces what their mildest and their wildest are. So it's this beautiful space of getting to see, oh yeah, I like what Peter said. I would love to go and gently massage and scratch his head, or ooh, Kathy has some really nice movies and she's really wanting to have her movies played with tonight, and so I would totally yes for that. And so it's just giving us all this experience to find out how we can really win with one another.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. Like sometimes people going around and they'll say shotgun, or they're making mental notes. Oh, let's, if I see that person free, I want to do that. Or weren't you the one we did that you were talking about this thing? Do you want to try that?
Sure. Why not?
Have you received it yet?
No.
Yeah. Have you? And I've had people say, like, we were cuddling for a while, and someone's like, "Hey, has everyone made their mildest?" Mm-hmm. And a couple people had, and we're like, "What are they?" And we did those, and then we're just like cuddling, or something generally pretty light. And then someone's like, "I haven't made my wildest yet," and we're like, "What is it?" And she was like, "I want to cuddle naked with a bunch of you." And we all of us hopped out of bed without saying a word, took off our clothes, and hopped back in.
It helps manifest what you want.
Yeah.
And it's such a great conversation
Speaking
starter
yeah.
to get to know people.
Yeah.
Because so many of us go to these things and we're really shy, and we're like, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to connect with people? Just start talking about your mildest and wildest.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you can use this with a partner too, and it's a really nice date experience. Like, hey, honey, let's think about for a minute, what's our mildest and wildest for date night? Mm-hmm. Or, something like that. But it's a way to really, I love that you introduced this. You learned it from another couple.
It was for a New Culture in Southern Utah, or Southern California, and so they had their own version of trying to get people in touch with what is that smallest.
And then you modified it, yeah.
And it's an amazing way to be able to get in touch with that.
Yeah, and I really like the mildest is included in that, because it gives me a doorway. Peter talked earlier about how important it is to start with, especially if you don't know the person, walking up and saying, "You want to fuck?" is just, it's like, but saying, "Hey, my mildest is to give a shoulder rub and get a shoulder rub. Would you be interested in doing that?" It gives you a doorway into that. So.
And what I want to add in too is I've had many play parties where people have been very sad or disappointed, and they're like, "Wow, I didn't even have my mildest met."
Yeah.
And so what I want to offer to those of you that may show up at a play party and you're like, "Oh, I got in touch with these things that I really, really want, and none of it happened," is it's still a win for you, because you got in touch with those things. So you can leave the play party and you can really start envisioning in your life, wow, I really want to lay in someone's lap. Like, I'm really wanting to have someone hold me naked. Like, whatever that piece is that you got in touch with, even if you don't receive it at the play party, it doesn't mean that you lose. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. You've actually gotten in touch with this core longing inside of you that you want to have happen sooner rather than later. So start creating and start inviting that into your world.
And you'd be super surprised about just sharing that mildest,
how
often it will come to pass for you
if
you just share it. We're so afraid to share our true feelings and what we want in this world. And it's in this environment, we like to say you're held in a very safe space. Mm-hmm. And that a lot of us are not judging you for what it is that you want. We actually are inviting you to share your deepest, most intimate parts and most vulnerable parts.
Yeah. And I love that, yeah, it's so important to, and I work with clients all the time, and we had a class yesterday where people say, I don't even know what I want.
Yeah.
And then we can't ask for it, we can't tell our partner. And so just getting in touch with that is so powerful.
Can we model one of our favorite exercises?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have people pair up, and then one person says, what do you want?
I want more abundance of my most passionate things in life.
Thank you. What do you want?
I want to travel the world and teach what I love.
Thank you. What do you want?
I want to explore the deepest, most intimate parts of myself and my partner.
Thank you. So that's the idea, and we'll keep going for 3 to 5 minutes depending on how deep and how many layers people are willing to unravel. And if you get stuck, then you just keep saying, you know, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, I want sex, I want a partner, I want, like, whatever it is you're stuck on. You can, you know, this is, I get to give a personal example because I was so scared. Like, I've been in open relating for a long time, and I meet Peter, and I'm really, really drawn to him in a way I hadn't been drawn to anybody. And I remember being with 2 friends, and they're like, what do you want, Monique? And I'm like, I'm still blushing thinking, I want to marry Peter. And like, even just saying the words brought so much shame inside of me. And then as I started talking about it, and I did this exercise, I happened to be, there was an odd number in our group, and so I was the one that was in there. I spent the entire exercise, I want to marry Peter, I want to marry Peter. And like, it started just relaxing things inside of my being. And then I had the conversation with him, and it was a 1.5 years later that we had our commitment ceremony. But it was that opening that I was finally able to get in touch with. This is what I want more than anything else, and be able to put it into words.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, thanks for bringing your courage and your curiosity here. These are really big steps. Most people don't know these things, so you being armed with this will go into a play party with a lot more skills. And if you have comments or questions, please leave them below.
Find us at whereintheworldsmoniquedarling.com.
Yeah.
Mm.